Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
All right, guys, welcome back to the show. I am your host, Brett McCollum, and I am here today with Bhaskar Pandey, and we are going to talk about wholesaling land development. It's pretty cool one, guys. But before we do, at Investor Fuel, we help real estate investors, service providers, and real estate entrepreneurs to 2 to 5x their businesses to allow them to build the businesses they've always wanted and allow them to live the lives they've always dreamed of. Without further ado, Bhaskar, how are you, man?
Hey, Brett. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Man, I am tremendously excited to have you on. I mean, I've known you like now all of a handful of minutes, but I can tell you, like, catching up with you, getting to know you a little bit, man. Like, I'm really excited to talk to you, learn more about what you guys are doing and everything. But dude, before we get started and get into all the meat and potatoes of things, kind of back up a little bit, rewind, catch us up to speed. Who is Bhaskar?
So, Bhaskar Pandey, based out of Houston, Texas. Spent a great deal of time in San Antonio, about 15 years there before coming to Houston. I have a tech background. I'm an engineer by professional education, past career, worked in software, security, IT, and went to school in San Antonio as well, graduated with honors. And like everybody else that comes on a scholarship from another country ends up taking a job with a large corporate, and you start climbing the ladder, and climbing the ladder can take 5, 10, 15 years to get to where you can feel like your salary is meaningful.
Right.
And that's what happened to me. 12 years into my career, I was like, okay, now I feel like I can breathe, make a little bit of money, work remotely. Then I got married, and my wife was also an engineer, also worked remotely. So we were two people making decent money in the IT world, working from home, traveling the world. Life was amazing. Well, then our first son was born, and what we didn't know that my son was going to be born with some big medical needs. He was born with some medical challenges, which even though we were probably in one of the highest paid engineers tiers in terms of salary, we still weren't able to fully sustain and even plan for the future of the type of medical care that my son would need. The nursing, all of the medical gear, the appliances, the supplies. Insurance didn't cover all of it. They covered some of it. A lot of it was out of pocket and not sustainable. I mean, frankly, we were paying home health aides, nurses to spend time every day, come take care of my son. We had to bring him to a hospital from San Antonio to Houston because Texas Children's Hospital here in Houston is one of the best hospitals in the country. So we realized there was some change that was needed. So started looking at real estate investing. I had a couple of rentals at that time that I was buying on market, like most people with jobs do when they think that they're investing in real estate. But, that's not real estate investment, right? If anything, it's actually putting more strain on you because you're buying 20% down turnkey properties that are generating $200-$300 a month in cash flow. and you're just like, this isn't what life is supposed to be like. So we were, very stressed.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
Got into land investing, land flipping, not because this was something I was like always passionate about,
Right.
but there was a need for me that came naturally for me to be able to provide for my family, for my son, a little bit more of a financially stable future.
Wow. Man. Woo. I'm going to take a breath on that. So let's do this. Let's kind of back up a little bit. Let's start, because I think everything you just shared, there's a lot to unpack, right? Let's go back to you get married. Okay. So you're working and you get married, you travel in the world, you're doing that. And it's what's the acronym? You guys are DINKS, double income, no kids, right?
Exactly right.
Yeah.
DINKS, the best feeling in the world, right?
Oh my gosh. Right. My wife and I, we have 4 children today, and I don't even remember. It's hard to even remember that. So
I remember vividly, man, because that time hasn't come back, or that type of feeling hasn't come back since, right?
Yeah. And so you're doing that. And then life, like it's interesting how life works. And we say a lot of times it didn't happen to you, it happened for you and things like that. And I believe that sincerely. But sometimes I think we look back at we didn't know how good we had it.
100%. Honestly,
you don't when you're in the middle of it sometimes.
You don't know until something happens to you, for you. And that's when you question. First, you question, why me? Why us? Why did we have to go through some hardship?
Yeah.
And then you question, the right questions to ask are, why not me? Why couldn't this happen to me? What makes me special, right? What is it that I have that God could not have chosen me to put in these situations?
That's right.
And honestly, it was a big moment for us to mature into the next level of life, parenting, caregiving. We didn't choose this. We didn't ask for this. This is exactly what was planned for us.
Right.
But we at first, after some time of questioning why me, why us, we moved into the next phase of why not us. And when we took it, in a way that this was meant for us, we were meant for this. This is going to make us stronger. This is going to prove to us that we have the ability to handle difficult situations.
Yeah.
And whether or not my son has medical needs, he is my son. And I am here to care for him till his last breath or mine.
Your daddy, man. Like that's the mantle we carry, man. That's it.
Right.
And it's a great, as a husband first, and then our children, this is our greatest duty before, you're a business owner, before that, this is who we are, right? That's our calling, our highest calling.
We're doing it, right? We're doing it for our families, our kids. Everybody wants to be able to provide. Like I'm not in this business to be rich to where all I have is like cars and mansions to show. I want a comfortable life for myself, for my kids. I want them to feel like life is fun and worth living. Yeah. I want to feel the same way.
Yeah.
That's why this whole thing was started. We otherwise would not have thought of investing so aggressively.
Yeah, I think that's incredible. So interesting. So both of us have a very similar philosophy on this and how we approach it. I look at it from the lens of, same things like God chose us for this season. It could have been somebody else. It could have been anybody else, actually. Right?
If you think about it, Brett, there are so many other families going through the same thing or worse.
That's right.
There are people that have so much happen to them unexpectedly. They could have been living great, healthy, systematic, planned lives.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
They may not have done anything wrong, to anyone with their lives. They might have been very religious. They may have been very giving. They may have been very philanthropic. But at the end of the day, something happens that they just can't explain, and it can happen to anybody. And it happened to us. And instead of saying, "Hey," we did say, I'm not going to lie, we did for a while feel like, why was this supposed to happen? Why did this happen? But then we looked around, there were so many families going through much worse. And we realized, hey, we don't have it that bad. Yes, it was very severe, very serious, and it still is. But at the end of the day, man, we are here to provide. We're strong. And this proves to us that, hey, we can do whatever life throws at us.
Yeah. I look at it from another thing. Like, I don't like to, sometimes we like to look at extremes as like, well, it could have been extreme, right? Or it could have been boom. I tend to like gravitate to principles that are in the Bible, principles that are like things I can look at. And albeit Job is an extreme example in the Bible. Mm-hmm. Okay. However, you remember, like, he also was ripping his clothes, laying on the ground, and like, God, why? Well, he's human. That's a natural response.
Yeah. Okay. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so I mean, because me too, things that we've been going through and things like that, it's like you kind of that metaphorical ripping your clothes. Why?
Yeah.
And I don't think that scares God. I don't think that scares, like, it's okay. But then you come to this perspective of, one of my mentors posted something on social media the other day, and it was a picture of a mountain, and then the person standing at the bottom of the mountain like this, looking up at it. And it was, I get to climb this mountain.
100%, man. That's amazing. That's amazing.
That is a shift that is so hard when life hits you unexpectedly.
Some people want an ordinary life. Some people want an extraordinary life, but an extraordinary life can come in many ways, shapes, and forms. And you can still make an extraordinary life that is not extraordinary in a way that you expected.
Yeah.
You can still make that fun and worth living. And that's what we've done. My wife is amazing. She's one of the best, strongest moms that I know.
Yeah.
And she really grew and stepped up to this calling. And she's been the greatest advocate. She's joined many organizations that help and provide care for people in similar situations, kids in similar situations. She's gone to conferences. She's helped develop or provide ideas to the companies that are developing products, services for people in our predicament. So she's really been like involved since then. And it may have helped and changed a lot of other people's lives. Like even my sons, we now have access to equipment that we didn't even know existed that can make my son's life better. And it costs a lot of money, but finding ways to make that work between what she does and what I do, we've been able to make it work. She's gone to nonprofits. She's applied for grants. She's applied for, medical research studies. And I've done what I can do best is find out ways to generating more money faster so that we can provide for the needs and the challenge at hand.
Love that. Man, I'm glad we got onto this topic, honestly, because there's so many people, whether it be medically related or something else, challenges are, it's the analogy of, when you take candy from a baby, it may as well be the end of the world, right? Like, but that was their world in that moment, and so whether you guys are listening and it's, something like what, Bhaskar is saying, or it's something else, like that challenge is real in front of you and it may as well be, and that's okay. You don't need to, I think a lot of times like, well, you don't have it that bad. You could have been with this, and I think we diminish a lot of times challenge that people are facing. But in that moment, this is the biggest thing it is a big deal. So
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Just want to encourage you guys, like, let this be an encouragement to you guys as we're talking about this, because it doesn't mean that I can ask. Let me ask you this. You answer. I don't want to put words in your mouth, Bhaskar, but every day is probably very easy for you now, isn't it?
I mean, I don't look at it from that perspective anymore. I just look at it that, hey, I'm here. I've been through some difficult times, conquered those times, and man can do what man has done. If there are other people going through difficult times, challenges, much worse perhaps than mine, and they're able to make something of it, they're able to move forward, why can't we? And you're right, life is easier now than it had been the last 4 or 5 years, because we hadn't figured this out. We hadn't yet. Sure. We were still dealing with piecing the puzzle together and figuring out how can we make the most of what we have, the cards that we've been dealt, and how can I actually still win? And, we're here, we're winning.
And you are. Yeah, that's kind of what I meant, was like, not every day is easy, even now. Like, you're going to still walk in through these things, but it's like the perspective shift and the things that you get to. And I think, and this will be a good transition for us, I think that's what leads into, when it comes to business, like, yes, your hat as a husband and a father and doing that, like, you have a priority on that. But when it comes to business, like, man, it's just business. Right. Let me do this. Let me just work, because this is just business. It helps, because I think a lot of us in our businesses have challenges too, right? Mm-hmm. And it gives us this, like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? But having, you walk through some stuff and you're walking through stuff, I would imagine it probably helps you keep a fresh perspective on how you operate your day-to-day business.
Right.
Yeah.
Eyes on the prize.
Yeah. But catch me up to speed with, all right, so let's talk like business-wise. All right, so you start, like, you dip your toe in. Yeah, you had like the rental thing like that. But how do you transition into the wholesaling land and like land development type space?
It didn't happen overnight, of course, and it didn't happen the extent of what we're doing now, and the simple, predictable paradigm that we've created now didn't happen overnight, of course, right? Like other people finding ways or trying to create another income stream, I too started joining like different investor communities, Facebook groups. I was attending lots of events. And I always say this, I was a lurker for a long time. I wasn't a doer. I was just there. My philosophy was, as engineers, we spent so much time learning the fundamentals, the concepts, that we don't really get to executing for a long time. If you go through engineering school, if you go through, your chemistries, your physics, your biology, your mathematics, there's not a whole lot of application. You learn a lot of conceptual sciences for a long time. And then after your 2 or 3 years in school, you start doing a little bit of experimentation. And that was the initial approach I had. I still had a day job. I was attending lots of events, bringing back tidbits. I used to maintain this book I used to call my black book, and I would write down every little important tidbit that I learned, a gem. Somebody says something that potentially could be impactful in the future, I would write it down in there. And I would come back from these events, I would review that. But the most important thing I did not do was try to put it into action for a while. Until a friend of mine, someone who was doing active land investing, he gave me a lead out in the middle. He said that, hey, have you heard of Oklawaha? Brett, have you heard of Oklawaha?
Yeah, it's not far from me.
I had never heard of Oklawaha. I hadn't even heard of Ocala, which was the bigger city around it. Yep. And somebody sent me a lead and he said, hey, this looks promising. It came through my PPC pipeline. This gentleman seems motivated. Make him an offer.
I was actually there in Oklawaha 3 weeks ago.
Crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
Man, I've never been, and that's where I did my first land deal.
No way.
Yeah, and I never set foot. I had concepts. I had these fundamentals that I had like gained from attending all these different events. I didn't take any courses or anything. I couldn't frankly think, I didn't want to invest $5, $10, $15,000 into somebody else's program. I could if I wanted to. It's just that I figured I can just figure it out from attending events, meeting people, shaking hands, and just consulting friends of mine that are doing these things. And that's kind of what happened. He gave me a lead. The gentleman wanted, well, he wanted like $8,000 or $9,000 for this lot that backed up to a lake, if you can call it a lake, because it was like a little swamp behind his property.
Thing, yeah.
Yeah. And I did my diligence. I did my evaluation, ran some comps, and that land was worth like $12,000 or $13,000 on market.
Okay.
He wanted $8,000 or $9,000, which could have been a deal as is. But when I said that to my friend, and I was like, hey, he wants $8,000. It looks like a deal. He said, no. Make him an offer. Make him an aggressive offer at an amount that you can afford to lose. And I said, okay. I went back. I offered the gentleman $4,000, fully expecting to get shot down. I thought he was going to say, F yourself, get out of here. He accepted. He took $4,000. I said, okay, great. What next? He said, well, now you close on it. I'm like, okay, well, what does that mean? Take this to a title company, open escrow, buy this property. Sure enough, bought the property, got title insurance. The title was clean, no issues. And then I was going to need to sell it to make some money, and I couldn't figure out how to sell it. So I said, what's next? He goes, well, try to advertise this property however you can, marketplace, social media, do whatever you can to try to sell this property, find a buyer. And, I thought, Brett, shit, I just bought this $4,000 property in the middle of nowhere. I have no idea where the city even is, but it looks pretty interesting. On Google Street View, it looks pretty interesting. There was some water behind it. It was like 4,000 square feet. It was not that big of a lot. But worst case scenario, I could have parked a trailer on it and made it like my vacation home for my wife and I to go and get away. Could not sell it for a couple of months. 2 or 3 months went by. I didn't do anything with it. I just figured I may have just bought a piece of land that's going to stay with me for a long time. I posted it on one of those land websites called landsofamerica.com, and I found a buyer. I tried posting it for $9,000. I got a cash offer at $8,000. I did a self-close this time because I didn't want to pay closing costs again. I did a self-close, prepared all the deed myself, the paperwork myself. I had templates available for my friends. I had the buyer pay for closing costs and a notary after closing get that registered with the county there. And I doubled my money. I went from $4,000 plus closing costs to selling it for $8,000 plus the buyer paying closing costs. I essentially ended up walking away with roughly $4,000. And I figured this is very easily rinsed and repeatable. So that's where this idea was born. And sure, then I built a team. I built some systems, software. Integration is my specialty. I'm not a programmer, but I can take different pieces of software, make them talk to each other. Started skip tracing data, pulling data in hot markets. Phoenix, Arizona was my first intentional land deal. Mm-hmm. Ocala was something that fell in my lap. Phoenix was actually Fountain Hills was my first deal that I did. And we made $16,000 on that deal. On the first deal, we prospected, made an offer, lined up a builder who was already building homes in that area. They came and picked it up. We were under contract for 116 or 115. We ended up wholesaling this to a builder for 131,000, and we made about 16 grand in the process. They paid for all closing costs. The whole process took about 30 days from start to finish. And there was my second deal. So between my first deal and my second deal, we just made $20,000, which took like 2 or 3 months to make in my day job.
Right.
I could now scale this up. We started expanding our outreach. More offers started going out. More contracts started getting signed. And now we started looking for more builders that were actively buying. So we made relationships with 5 or 6 builders. And between those 5 or 6 builders, we probably sold, I want to say, 25 to 30 deals in 2022 in my first year of business.
Wow. Good for you.
And each, like, the profit margin was about 27K each.
Yeah.
So we were just a hair under 7 figures in our first year.
Incredible. Yeah. And land is, you were prime time on that as far in the wholesale world with land, because
Absolutely right.
it was like that. It was that there was like a ramp up, period of like when land was like, nobody really cared. Oh my gosh, everybody wants land kind of thing. Yeah. And you hit it like right. That's the thing too. It's like, not to go back to it too hard here, but like you would have never looked at that had circumstances not led you to that, right? Like
I wouldn't have really known about land.
In that timing too, by the way, right? Which is like, that's the funny part, is like the timing. You couldn't have made that happen on your own, right?
I couldn't have. Honestly, everybody was doing single family wholesaling, right? When you first get started, when most people first get started and they want a quick, fast way to make some transactional money, they wholesale. They wholesale not in a good way. They start doing kind of not intentionally perhaps, but the easiest way to get somebody under contract, flip that contract to somebody, and you really don't care about ethics. You don't really care about regulations. You don't really care about using the right paperwork. All you care about is, hey, how can I make $5,000 fast? That's right. I tried my luck at single family at first. I did not enjoy it. I didn't like the walking properties, taking photos, and then having buyers walk properties, people trying to go around us. Land just happened to fall in my lap, but it fell into my lap because I went searching for something for sure. And I ended up deciding, hey, this is that first Ocala deal opened my eyes to something big. Yeah. And here we are. We have an office in Houston. We've got 6 people here, some on salary, some commissioned. I have VAs calling from overseas. I have my own younger brother that handles all of our marketing and branding from India. My wife is a data scientist. She wrote some code, some software for us that allows us to analyze markets. We get MLS data dropped into it. And that dashboard, we call it the crystal ball, by the way, for that reason, because it gives us trends, pricing. It gives us sale activity, basically ratios between what's sold, what's on the market right now. So sell-through rates. It also gives us areas of high activity in the last 60, 90, and 180 days. And it also tells us who are building in those areas. So like I have this one piece of software that I can use for prospecting. I can pull data specifically in those zip codes. So I don't waste marketing dollars on texting, calling, mailing people in areas where there may not be high MLS activity already. And then when I lock some stuff up, we have some buyers and builders that we first pitch that to.
Wow. Dude, yeah. That's so cool. And I love that you've built a real business around it. And it's not just let me just flip some, let me just wholesale some land. Let me just wholesale, that's because that's the hamster wheel. It's not the business, right? Right. And you've built a business around it and put real, because that's the thing is I love you're using your engineer, because all the engineer mind that you and your wife both have are still being practiced daily. And I think that's so cool, man.
I think that is our advantage, being able to sort of use and rely on some of the principles that we've learned in school. Now, I'm not saying there's a lot of people doing this without having a formal educational background, doing really, really well. But eventually they've figured out the same thing, is pick a niche, see what works, fine tune it as best as you can, and do so much of it until it doesn't work anymore, right?
Right.
I'm just not going to keep randomly scaling up to large subdivisions, subdivides, entitlements, things like that, because what I am doing is has the capability to produce for a long time. I haven't even started looking outside my main markets yet. I'm only like 3 or 4 markets right now.
Wow.
I could potentially scale this into more markets with the help of my software and we do, the machine that we've built. So I feel like I've barely scratched the surface.
And I think there's wisdom, right? In a lot of the thought leaders and industry leaders that have gone before us, and that are, and there's a lot of wisdom out there if we look for it. And one of the things that is really from a marketing perspective, hey, these are my main 3 places, right? That's a marketing conversation, right? So the way I have been taught and the way I like to look at it is, okay. Have you ever talked to other wholesalers and you're like, oh, what list are you using? How are you doing? Are you cold calling? Are you texting? Are you using PPC? Are you using TV? Are you using Facebook ads? Are you using they name all the things, right? Like, what do you do? Everybody is asking, wants the silver bullet.
Yeah.
And the people that have gone before us, the wisdom that cries aloud says, pick one channel, go deep, dominate it. Don't deviate from that one channel until you know it inside and out, backwards and forward, and it produces on repeat. And then and only then can you add the second.
100%. And we did our first 30 deals only from SMS.
That's it.
And it was working. We mastered SMS, follow-ups, the type of messaging, the number of touches it took to get responses from non-responsive sellers, the follow-up sequences. I mean, at the end of the day, you can talk to 10 different people that are successful, and they'll give you 10 different answers of what they're doing that's working for them. And you're going to be a fool wasting money trying to put different prospecting methodologies, channels into play into your own business. You're just going to end up wasting money, because I did that at first.
Yep. Been here, done that too. Yep.
And then I realized, all right, man, you know what? These guys, it's just consistency that works.
That's
and
right.
No one else can figure out your business for you. You can get as much coaching as you want. Now, if you join like a high value mastermind group, you can really accelerate your learning, because you have people that have experience in the field you can ask questions to. But if you join sort of like just a coaching program, or like you join like a traditional course, I don't really think that can, yes, it'll give you the basics, which you certainly need. You do need some foundational material, but other people cannot solve your problems because they're not in your circumstances.
Right.
They don't have the visibility you have in your business, and you're not going to be as honest with them as you are with yourself, knowing what you're doing or not doing. A lot of people that aren't performing, man, I get 15, 20 Facebook Messenger messages from different people, random people that have followed me, people that are just getting to know about me. And they ask me the same question. They say, my business isn't working. Can you help? I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And you ask them this one question: how much are you doing? And they're not doing much at all. I mean, they're not even spending 1 or 2 hours.
Most of them, they think I'm busy. Busy isn't working. Busy is distraction, and distraction is not results.
You're right.
And it seems, but I'm doing all these activities. I'm marketing this and marketing that, there's no clarity. There's no, direct consistency, as you mentioned.
And they give up too easy too. When they say, hey, this isn't working, cold calling doesn't work. I called for 2 weeks and I didn't lock up anything.
Have you heard of the story 3 feet short of gold? Have you heard about that story?
Yes, absolutely.
And if you guys haven't, we don't have time, but go look it up. It's the thing that I struggle with all the time, like when I'm in a struggle season of some kind and I want to stop, and it's like, but what if I'm like 3 feet short of gold?
It's right there. You gave up too soon. I get, I just recently started this little, people come to me and they've been to other people and paid a lot of money for like their land programs. And I said, I don't really have a coaching program. I don't really want money from coaching. But if I teach you and you bring the deal to me and we work on it together, we both make money.
Beautiful.
So I just launched this virtual squad, which is virtually free. Yep. You pay to lock up your money, which you get back. I will charge you $500 so you show up.
Yep.
Because I want you to know that you have $500 at risk of losing, but the day you bring me the first deal that we close, I will pay you your split plus your $500.
Incredible. Guess what that does for Bhaskar's marketing dollars too, right? Brilliant. I love that.
So this is something everybody's lacking, or a lot of people are lacking, which is consistency, effort, taking enough action. And really, it really boils down to that. Everything works. Anything can work. Texting can work. Cold calling can work. Mailers can work. PPC can work. PPL can work. Man, it's just all over. There's people I know that are killing it with bandit signs.
Yeah.
They're out there 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning putting 400 bandit signs, 300 bandit signs in the city.
What's the one that works? My mentor would tell you this: the one you do every day.
The one you do every day. That's right. That's why we go to the gym, because you don't just go to the gym for 2 months and say, hey, I'm not seeing any muscle. Hey, do this for 2 years. Let's talk. And you're going to say, man, look at me. I transformed myself in 2 years. Same thing is true for what we do as well, right? In the land business.
In life, it's funny, is they extend beyond just there's principles that exist in the world, in the universe, whatever you want to say, they just exist.
Yeah.
But man, I know we could keep going on about this, you and I are very kindred spirits in this, and I think I could talk to you for days, man. But I want to give people an opportunity to connect with you in some way. You got a lot of cool things you're doing, and I'd love for people to get to know you. What's the best way for that to happen?
They can go to my website. It's www.builderslandsource.com. All of my contact information is on there. I also have a land group, a free group they can join. It's called Texas Land Exchange on Facebook. And all of the information about any of the programs I have, which are essentially to get them started doing deals. And I'm doing this because I'm selfish. I want them to send me deals. Yeah. But in return, not even in return, before they even bring me deals, I'm willing to open my doors and show them everything that I do on the hope and premise that they will bring me their deals. And we will work on at least 3 deals together. Yeah. They learn, they win. We both make money. We both win. If anybody has any risk, it's me, because I'm literally just spending my time giving away my blueprint, hoping that I can impact somebody's life and they can give me an equal exchange of value, like I said, with bringing deals back. So that information is available on landexchange.info.
Perfect. And we'll make sure we put these information in the show notes. But man, you're a go-giver. You lead from the front. You're giving before expectation of receiving, and that's the recipe for success too, man. And man, I'm if nobody else has told you lately, buddy, I am proud of what you're doing and where you're going, man. This is really cool. I
appreciate it, man. Thank you so much, Brett.
Perfect. Well, guys, I appreciate, again, Bhaskar, thanks for being with us. And guys, thanks for hanging out with us today. And we'll catch you guys on the next episode. Take care, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.